Spoke to my guy, Dr. Jake May, this morning. If you're looking to find out better ways to fuel your body, what types of foods work best for your body, you might think, well, how do I know that? I'll go and watch some video on Instagram of some gym bro telling me I got to eat oysters and whatever, potato chips or something. But these guys, they don't know what they're talking about. You can't be trusting random people on the internet. My guy, Dr. Jake May, and his team at Menu RX, you're talking about scientists, nutritionists. These are people that study, doctors, that study this stuff for a living. They will do metabolic testing for you, which will most likely be covered by your health insurance. You could certainly use FSA or HSA payments. I was talking to Jake. He said most health insurances in Ohio do cover it. So go to menu-rx.com. If you want help losing weight, getting in better shape, just looking for the right food for your body, they will find out what works specifically for you. We're all different. We all have different foods that work well with our body. Find out for yourself. Menu-rx.com. Sign up now and you'll get a one-year membership to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, a $60 value, absolutely free. That's menu-rx.com. So yesterday, I was ranting and raving about...
What's new?
About the Guardians and the fact that their lineup is just pitiful and they can't...
Dude, I can't watch them.
But before you continue, I want to mention something.
Yeah.
They tweeted out their lineup yesterday.
Yeah.
You then quote tweeted the Guardians lineup.
Yeah.
And was like, bad lineups, cringe at this.
Yeah.
And then Nick Wilson.
Yeah.
Who, I like Nick. Nick and I, at least online friends.
Oh, I was going to say we'll see Nick at the wedding, but he's not going to be at the wedding.
You guys know Nick better than I do. He tweeted back at you and said, like, whoa, this is the best lineup they put out in 3 weeks. And they got 3 hits.
I don't know if he was joking.
I don't know either, but it was...
I did see that. I didn't get a chance to respond.
He did put the laughing emoji in there, so I'm going to assume it's a joke. It may
maybe. I think he might have been sarcastic.
Well, either way,
there's no such
sarcasm or not to tweet that out.
Yeah.
And then they get 3 hit. It's just it's a bad look.
Yeah, but it's
fine.
Like
Nick.
Their lineup sucks. Their lineup's terrible. They don't play Kyle Manzardo anymore.
Yeah,
I know he's slumping. He's still been their third or fourth best player this year. I mean, I don't understand. The guy's been on the bench like 6 of the last 8 games.
I don't think he's playing today either.
Oh, the lineup's already out? Oh, yeah, they're playing a day game.
Yeah, I was looking earlier, and I saw someone
I don't know what they're doing.
Today.
I don't remember who's pitching for Cincinnati today.
David Fry is DHing today.
Yeah, no Manzardo again today.
Who is pitching for Cincinnati? Somebody remind me, because I don't recall who's pitching for them.
I'll tell you right now.
Is it a righty or a lefty? Oh, Lodolo's a righty, I think. Isn't he? Double check that. I can't remember for sure.
Well, either way, Manzardo, here's their lineup for today.
Yeah.
It's an afternoon game. Lane Thomas leading off, David Fry DHing, batting second, Jose third.
So Kwan's not playing either.
Kwan's off today. Santana fourth, Arias fifth, Nolan Jones in left, Jonathan Rodriguez in right, Dom Nunez, and Angel Martinez.
Wow. Oh, Lodolo is a lefty. Okay, my bad. Wow, that's an even worse lineup. I guess the Guardians have just decided Kyle Manzardo, who for the most part has been their third or fourth best hitter this year, and their second best power hitter, can't play against lefties anymore, even though he was killing lefties earlier in the season, because they got to play Angel Martinez, who hasn't done a thing in a month, Dom Nunez, who's a journeyman, Jonathan Rodriguez, will become a journeyman, Nolan Jones, who can't hit this year, Gabriel Arias, who's done nothing for a month, the mediocre Carlos Santana, and Lane Thomas, who's batting $110. So, congratulations. I mean, we broke the record again. They said yesterday was the worst lineup I've seen all year. Now they beat it.
Can you show it one more time, please?
I mean, that is hideous. That's like a AAA lineup outside of Jose. It's terrible.
I've never even heard of Dom Nunez.
They just called him up when Hedges went on the IL. He had been the backup catcher for the Colorado Rockies for a little while, and he's bounced through. He's probably like 30 years old, something like that.
All right, who's Jonathan Rodriguez?
They just called him up
for Noel.
He's been around.
I've heard of everybody else. I mean, they're not great.
The lineup is atrocious.
And why is Quan out again in the lineup?
They probably just wanted to give him a random
right
day off. No.
Well,
they probably just wanted to.
He hasn't had a hit in 3 games.
But 3 games, which is.
It's
odd for him. But
I assume he's going to get a hit every game. The guy's one of the best hitters in baseball.
I mean,
singles guys, punch and Judy.
I can't even. we see other teams calling up their better prospects. Every day some other prospect gets called up. The Brewers, another smaller market team, they're calling up their best pitching prospect tomorrow to make a start. We see this. We see like all these teams. The Royals just called up their first-round pick from 2024, Caglione. They called him up about a week ago.
He's been good so far, too.
Well, I mean, it would be exciting if we knew Bazzano wasn't freaking banged up.
Yeah, but right. But I mean, bring up the standings again, Anthony. You know, after they lose again yesterday, they're only 2 games over 500 now. They're almost as close to the White Sox as they are to the Tigers at this point.
Can I ask a question real quick?
Yeah.
I know Andrew Abbott, his numbers this year have been very good.
Yeah.
I don't know
He's good.
his numbers this year have been terrific.
Lodolo's really good. I don't know why I forgot he was a lefty. But
is Abbott a guy, like when you go into a game against the Reds and Abbott's on the mound, you're like, ugh.
No.
It's going to be a war.
Their
like
best
it was
pitcher is
last
Hunter
night.
Green, and he's hurt right now. So Lodolo's a very good pitcher. Abbott's a good pitcher. They're nice, but they're not like special, or at least they haven't been. Kyle Manzardo should be playing almost every day. I don't understand what we're doing here. I don't understand why DeLauters doesn't get an opportunity. I don't understand why Kefas has an opportunity. You have a handful of guys batting 200 or lower with no power production, no on-base production. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen here. I felt like I would have been very surprised if the Guardians completely fell out of it. But the way they're playing right now, the pitching's been up and down, the starting rotation. It's been more good than bad.
Yesterday.
Yeah,
Cecconi
Cecconi pitched really
again.
well yesterday. But the lineup is just so horrendous right now that unless they pitch great, and yesterday they pitched great and still lost, I mean, you shouldn't be getting shut out 1-0 by the Reds. I know it's one game, but that's terribly embarrassing. And I don't know what to say because it feels hopeless because the Guardians, I was screaming for weeks to call up Kefas, and somebody I know spoke to somebody in the Guardians front office and basically said that's not happening. So they were playing. They have a glut of first basemen and DHs, right? And so they moved Kefas to right field. Initially, I think to think they could call him up and put him in right field because they get zero production out of right field. And about a week ago, when they were thinking about sending John Kenzie down, they said, somebody from the front office said to the person I know, was like, yeah, he's not ready to play the outfield. He's not good enough in the outfield. And I'm thinking, who gives a crap? They had John Kenzie Noel playing the outfield. Now, he's not bad. He looks bad out there because he's such a big guy. So
He actually moves pretty well.
But he's fine as an outfielder, but he's not.
He's not an elite defensive
I don't care if
fielder.
C.J. Kefas, if there's a chance C.J. Kefas can hit,
Bring him up.
and maybe he comes up in like every other hitting prospect, he sucks too. But he's one of their best hitting prospects. He was killing it in AA. They called him up to AAA. He was killing it in AAA. Why would you not give him a shot? I don't care if he makes a couple errors in right field, which he probably wouldn't. He'd be fine. You need to see if you have somebody that can produce. They have so many zeros in their lineup. It's crazy. And so they seem content to just play mediocre baseball. The Guardians are unwatchable right now. You said it. I mean,
It's tough,
if
dude.
you're a casual fan, and we have a lot of casual baseball fans, we have a lot of them here.
I'm a casual fan
Yeah.
who watches and will, put a couple bucks on the Guardians.
Yeah.
I haven't won $1 this year.
No.
I mean, I just picked bad times because
Yeah.
when they're stuck in these ruts, it's like then I'm betting on them. It's like it's frustrating. That makes me even not hate them, but
Yeah.
like be more frustrated with them.
So last year, they won a ton of games.
Yeah.
And they got off to that hot start, and everyone buys in. And when you win, you just overlook a lot of things that frustrate you. Lack of power.
Yeah, look over the
You
flaws.
just-
Yeah. Well, then they hit for more power last year. They were
did,
middle
yes.
of the pack.
But I'm just saying, like, when you're winning,
Yeah.
you overlook a lot. And then in this last 3-week stretch, 12-ish, 15 games where they played the Yankees, the Dodgers, the Tigers, like, this was a gauntlet of a stretch, and they still are right around 500. I know this is the upcoming schedule, but if we were to go back and look at the previous schedule, like, they played a lot of really good teams. They didn't completely sink.
No, they won that series with Detroit.
Detroit, they won the first 3. I think they
Yeah.
were 8-8 through that 16-game stretch. They've lost 2 in a row now, so maybe it's 8-10, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
So it's not like you want to just bury them completely, but it's also where's the hope? And to me, that's the frustrating part.
Right.
I look at how they're playing, and they could win games. I just don't know if they could win at the levels I want them to win. And if you're not going to be able to win playoff series, World Series, like, be fun. It's bad to be mediocre and boring.
Yeah.
That's like the worst.
Well, mediocre's the worst too, because at least if you stink, maybe you make some trades, you find some good players. Who knows? They're not going to make any aggressive trades. Like the American League, outside of the Tigers and Yankees, everybody, and the bottom, a couple teams on the bottom, everybody is mediocre. So the Guardians are not going to go out there and make some big blockbuster trade because they're not good enough. Even if they were good enough, they wouldn't. To say it's not good enough is giving them an excuse. They have not pulled the trigger on a significant in-season trade in a decade. So there's no reason to believe they would do it now.
Have they made a big trade since Andrew Miller?
No. They made that year. They were extremely aggressive at the trade deadline. It paid off. They tried
to get that other catcher, but it fell through.
Jonathan Lucroy.
Sean
They
Murphy.
traded for Brandon Geyer.
Sean Murphy was a deal that didn't happen.
Yeah, that didn't happen. Yeah. So, and then the following year, of course, they signed Edwin Encarnacion.
Edwin
Encarnacion. By the way, Zach Meisel told me his little son, who I think is 3, does that. Yeah, which I don't know how he knows that. He's only 3.
I love it when somebody comes up to me who used to listen, they still listen, but they used to listen when we were on the show together, and we have all these little
things,
like inside things.
Oh, yeah, that they still remember to this day, of course.
People still call me Duffy.
Who called? Was that Shaq?
Do you know that story?
No, it was Don King.
Don King.
Don King was on with us. We actually pre-taped the interview.
This is like first year we were on the air, 2011.
And Don King comes on and goes, "Thank you for having me, Adam and Duffy." And then he just called him Duffy the whole interview. You weren't going to correct Don King.
Don King. No, he knows people that,
Yeah, you don't want to
make people disappear.
Yeah, exactly. Duffy. What's so funny is, before I moved to Cleveland, I'm sure nobody had heard of me in Cleveland ever before I came here.
No, now you're,
why would anybody know
local
me here?
celebrity, man.
No. What I'm saying is people knew you before you started on the radio.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, you played football for Ohio State. You played in the NFL. And yet people screwed up your name way more than they screwed up mine,
100%.
which made no sense, and still do. People call you
Duffy.
Did some? No,
sometimes Derek, that's your brother's name.
Justin. A lot of Justin. A lot of Justin.
That's so strange.
I'm to the point now where I really don't even correct people.
If they call you Justin,
no.
You just, whatever.
They tried.
Yeah, good effort.
They got close.
Yeah.
One letter.
One letter. You'd think that Dustin was not a common name, which it is. I guess Justin is a little more common. But
for people my age, it was very popular in the 80s because Dustin Hoffman. And a lot of people,
right.
My parents named me not after him, because of what he was. It was just they liked the name.
Yeah.
And he was popular.
So I don't know how we got there from the Guardians.
Because I was talking about Edwin Encarnacion.
Oh, yeah, Edwin Encarnacion.
We took five turns.
Yeah, so since they signed Edwin Encarnacion in the winter of 16-17, they have basically done nothing. Mm-hmm. They have been ultra conservative, and it has showed. And the team at times has overcome the conservative nature of ownership and the front office. When they have spent money during those years, it's mostly been wasted. They wasted it on Paul Sewald this year. They wasted, Santana's been okay, but he's, not a game changer. He's not Josh Naylor. And so the level of frustration right now from Guardians fans is very high. I'm seeing a lot of frustration on social media. I know there's a percentage of the fan base that lives and dies with Chris Antonetti and Mike Chernoff. I think they've lost a lot of their stature. I know they're well respected in the sport. I have respect for them. I think overall in their tenure they've done a good job, but I don't believe they've done a good job in the last couple of years. And I went over it yesterday. They have not developed hitting in this organization. It is a massive failure, and there's no debating it. I'll talk. Chris Antonetti, come on right now. I argue that they have not failed to develop hitters because nobody can hit. Nobody. We went through draft picks from 3 years ago. Their top 10 list, they're all busts, or at this point, at best, disappointments outside of Gavin Williams. That's it. 9 out of 10 guys. And maybe part of that was the list was wrong. Maybe Chris Antonetti's personal list was different than what MLB.com put up. I don't know. But it's not like a lot of guys from this organization have panned out. And some of the few that have are playing for other teams because they moved on from the wrong guys. And so the frustration is through the roof. In terms of what your hope is, there's very little. I mean, I guess Chase DeLauder, we'll hope to see him at some point. But I have no faith they're going to call him up at all. They love to sit these guys in the minors next year. Like, when is it going to happen? Jose's getting old. How many top years? I mean, it's amazing the year he's having with no freaking protection in the lineup.
He's been incredible. His OPS is in the 9s. Like, he's been incredible
Yeah,
this
and
season.
they should just, I know Jay doesn't like it because he's stuck in his old school ways. He should be batting second, and that's it. You might as well put him and Quan back-to-back because nobody else on the team can hit. So it's not the worst lineup in baseball, but it's up there. And
if you take Jose out of it, is it the worst lineup in baseball?
Good question. Probably.
Worse
Now,
than the Rockies?
Huh?
Worse than the Rockies this year?
Without Jose? Yeah. I mean, the Rockies have 2 hitters that are like borderline all-stars. The rest of their lineup sucks, but they have 2 hitters that are borderline all-stars. With Jose, they're better than the Rockies. They're better than the White Sox. Probably better than the Pirates. I don't know what the numbers say. I just know they have one of the worst lineups. Without Jose, it would probably be the worst lineup, or certainly right there in the conversation. And we could be in a situation where they end up being sellers. And if they're not a legit contender, they should trade Emmanuel Clase because they can get a lot in return.
What does it look like?
But it'll just be more prospects that they won't call up, so that's frustrating.
If you go from being an ALCS team on the precipice of making the World Series last year to becoming a seller at the next deadline, essentially some changes, but the big bones of the team are
the big bones are not the same because they let Josh Naylor go, and he was their second-best player.
Okay,
that was a big loss.
I know Jimenez and Naylor, but for the most part, like, you still have 6 of the same 9 guys in the lineup.
I know, but those are, Naylor's your second-best guy, third best,
I'm just saying. I was asking what the...
But I think you're underselling how important that is. When you had at best a mediocre lineup and you give away your second-best power hitter, that's a big loss.
So that makes what I was going to ask, I guess, even more prevalent. When you go from an ALCS team on the precipice of potentially making the World Series to then being a seller at the deadline, 10 months later?
Yeah.
How do you sell that to the fan base?
You can't. You have your diehards that are going to be there no matter what, that get mad at the casual fans, that put their nose up at the casual fans. And I could be in that group sometimes, but I'm not right now. And it's what the franchise ownership and the front office have failed the fan base. They have failed the fan base. The fan base has shown you that they will come out when the team is good. And I guarantee you, everybody says, well, the Indians only sold out all those games because the Browns weren't here. Well, the Browns were here some of that time. The winning streak, the attendance streak was longer than the Browns were out of football. So it's not just about that. I know some of it was the new stadium and some of it was that. But it also will tell you, if you put a consistently good team on the field year after year after year, they will come. And if the Guardians it's amazing because the only reason they don't have the worst lineup in baseball is because Jose Ramirez
took a discount.
A discount is an understatement. He could have made $100 million more easy on the free agent market. I have never seen a player in his prime take except for guys who are pre-arbitrary, like a guy close to free agency in the prime of his career take a bigger discount in any sport than Jose Ramirez took. He was just like, I love it here. I want to stay 100, whatever.
He's the only athlete of all time that actually agreed with you on how much money you really need to be.
That's what it. He was like, it's enough. I'm set for life. Yeah. My family's set for life. No other player would have done that
in any sport.
And they have done nothing to back that up.
Poor guy.
Nothing. If he had said, "Hey, you got to pay me $250 million. That's what I'm worth," he would have walked, and they'd be even worse right now.
What do you end up getting?
Or they would have traded him for more prospects that they wouldn't have played or would have been bust.
Significantly less than that.
What did he end up getting? What was
I don't remember. You could go look at Baseball Reference. It's
7 years, $141 million.
His contract was 141.
Yeah.
For how many years?
7.
Jeez,
7 years.
That's it?
It should be 7 years for $250.
And what year was that? Did he sign that?
This
22.
is the 2022 to 2020.
Because we were here.
And wasn't he, what was it, 2 years till he became a free agent, I think?
Yeah,
so
they paid him early,
Yeah,
which suits some guys. I mean, getting that 140 early as opposed to,
sure.
What if you get hurt?
Right, but usually the only guys that take those big discounts are guys that have like 5 years till free agency, or 6, or even 4. He only had 2. If he had been a free agent either this past year or the year before, I can't remember now which it would have been in, he would have gotten over $200 million. Easy.
He probably could have gotten more from the Guardians like when he did the deal.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
Juan Soto just got paid what?
$765.
Now Juan Soto's younger than Jose would have been. I don't know that Juan Soto's a better player than Jose Ramirez. Does he have more power? A little more power. Is he a better all-around player than Jose Ramirez? If he is, it's not by a lot.
I don't know that he's better overall.
Soto stinks in the field. Jose's a much better base runner.
I think that Soto's a bigger power hitter, and you can tell me
he's
what
a
you think.
sexier name.
And he's more of an intimidating guy at the plate than Jose. But
he's more inconsistent. Jose's usually pretty solid. Right. Now, again, is there a $600 million difference between those two guys? No chance.
They're both top 10 guys.
I promise you that Soto's with who now? The Mets?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I promise you the Mets would rather have Ramirez on the 7-141.
100%. No doubt. If the Mets could right now take Juan Soto on his contract, Jose Ramirez on his, they'd take Jose Ramirez.
Yeah, and in fact,
even with Soto being younger,
they'd probably take Ramirez at double what he's making now.
And you still, right?
You'd still be
$300 million. You'd still be like, less than half of Juan Soto. Yeah, exactly. Now, how old is Juan Soto?
25, 26.
No, is he that young?
Yeah, that's why he got such a...
Yeah, that was a big part
very
of it.
young.
That was a big part of it, but is he 25 still? No.
He's 26.
Wow. And Jose's 32. So there is obviously an age difference. But Juan Soto's already terrible in the field. And he's not a base runner. Again, he's got more good years left than Jose, but still, for the next 3-4 years, they'll be close, probably.